Make the husband grovel. Just a little bit. This is a rare drop the D moment. She was pissed I hung her underwear out for everyone to see. A lot of people have trust issues. I can relate to that. Hey guys, I'm V and welcome to today's episode. Now, I'm very excited. There's something about the joy of the new year, guys. I've been working on my vision boarding. I've gotten my resolutions down. I'm very excited for them. One of them is that I will be running a 7K this year. I don't know why I did this. It's just a healthy thing to do. And also, if I'm to admit, I'm hoping to dress the part because once you dress the part, you're 50% of the way there. I've been wearing a lot more leggings. I've been doing my research on athletic gear and athletic wear. So I feel like I'm mentally almost there. Now, what are your resolutions? Have you thought of any? Are there any goals that you have or things you're excited for? Do let me know. I'm super curious what everyone else is working on. Now, be prepared to scoop your jaw off from the ground because we got some shocking stories today. Our theme is it quirky or is it crazy? Our OPs in the stories will be discovering a lot more about their partners, friends, and families, way more than they bargained for. So let's see what the stories hold. And if you guys hear that I'm saying OP a lot, OP is just short for original poster. So let's get into our first story. Our first story is from the subreddit AITH. Am I the hole for going no contact with mother-in-law after she convinced my husband to ask for a paternity test because our baby looks too much like me? Sorry, this is going to be a long one, and I apologize in advance for any spelling mistakes. English isn't my first language. 4 months ago, me, 31-year-old female, and my husband, Mark, 32-year-old male, welcomed our first child, our daughter, Sophia. Me and Mark have been together for 10 years and married for 6 years. Getting pregnant wasn't exactly a walk in the park. We were trying for 2 years before it finally happened, and I miscarried 4 times during those years. Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, Opie. It seems like I'm happy that you and your husband finally are celebrating your little one together. Opie says, my parents died when I was 15, and I lived with my grandparents until I was 18 and started at college. My mother-in-law has been like a mother to me and had been an amazing support ever since me and Mark got together. She made dinners and called daily to check up on me after the miscarriages. When Sophia was born, the first thing mother-in-law did when she came to visit was to check up on how I was doing after the birth before focusing on Sophia. I remember thinking I had the best mother-in-law anyone could ask for. She was the first person we told about our pregnancy at week 18, and she was over the moon about becoming a grandma. The first 4 weeks after we got home from the hospital, she moved in with us to help out with Sophia. She was so helpful and always made sure she didn't overstep in any way. My mother-in-law always talked about how Sophia was a mini version of me and told everyone about how my daughter was a true copy of me. Mark was in love with our little girl and did everything he could to help out. He came home early every day to spend as much time as he could with Sophia and me. Everything seemed perfect. This is what we had wanted for so long. All he could talk about was how perfect our little girl was and how much she looked like me. He even found some old pictures of me and made a photo collage of me and her as babies to put on the wall. After my mother-in-law moved home, I think I saw her a couple times and would only speak to her if I called her. But to be honest, I didn't think much of it as I was busy with being a mother. After the first 2 months, Mark started getting more distant and coming home late. He started to spend a lot of time at his mother's house as he said she needed help with some renovations in her home. I appreciate all the help mother-in-law had given us, so I decided not to complain about it, even though I was exhausted from never getting an hour to myself anymore. Right after Sophia turned 3 months, Mark came home and said, we needed to talk. He sat me down and told me he wanted a paternity test because his mother thinks our child looked too much like me and nothing like him. My jaw was on the floor and I felt something inside me break. He doubled down with saying he agreed with Sophia looking like me and nothing like him, and that mother-in-law had told him I probably cheated with someone who has some of the same features as me. Mother-in-law claims that their family genes are super strong, and Sophia should have some of Mark's features if she was his. After he was done talking, I couldn't get a word out. I just started crying. It feels like the biggest betrayal that they both accused me of cheating, and that the reason was being my daughter looking too much like me. He told me he was sorry, but his mother got into his head and he couldn't let it go, and it was constantly on his mind. I'm gonna take a brief pause here because this story felt like it just went from 0 to 1,000 very, very quickly. I mean, we start out with such a wholesome beginning. I mean, OP finally has the baby girl that she and her partner Mark have been hoping for years. I'm assuming years now. It's been a while. It can be a handful dealing with your first kid. But to have this slapped on top of that, I just also I'm beginning to think if OP you are in the US and you had school in the US, I can't speak to other countries, but perhaps we need to do better with our biology education. I'm starting to think that everyone thinks that each kid needs to literally look physically like 50% of each parent. I just don't know if our genes and biology does that. I don't know. I mean, I have cousins that literally look like carbon copies of either the dad or the mom, but not necessarily a perfect, 50-50 ratio of each. And the baby is literally what? This all happened when the baby was 3 months old? Okay, maybe this is just unpopular opinion. I feel like all babies kind of generally look alike until they start forming into a full, complete transformation of, I don't know, a being, like until they're like 2 or something. They all kind of look like wrinkly little human babies. Am I wrong? They all look like little munchkins to me. All adorable, but like, how could you possibly tell? Oh, this baby looks way too much like her mom. Or that one looks 100% like the mom and nothing like the dad. Could you really tell? Really? Have you ever looked at a baby and went, oh my gosh, carbon copy at less than a year old?
I think that's a little too young.
A little? I feel like the baby was just burped out. Can
Yeah.
you really tell?
Usually, I would say a lot of babies look very similar or somewhat similar. They don't have like very distinct.
Like,
I guess, I mean, some babies do, but
yeah, but I
in
feel like
general,
most.
it's, I think more distinct features start to come through when they probably like, I don't know, closer to like a year old.
Yeah.
Well, not maybe it's a little bit younger, but not when they're
But like
like
not
one or
like
2
3
months.
months, right?
Yeah, at that
Like,
point,
because I remember when my baby sister was born, I remember my nieces and nephews when they were born. I'll be honest with you. If you, line up a bunch of newborns in one spot and ask me, okay, which one is my niece and nephew? I'm so sorry. I would not be able to tell. I would just be like, um, the more wrinkly one. OPS mentioned that English isn't her first language, so perhaps she wasn't necessarily born here, grew up here. So it's likely that she doesn't look, I don't know, maybe she is a different, skin tone from Mark, her husband, and the mom in law. But I still don't think that's enough to say one way or the other. That one baby looked more like the mom or the father. And I'm wondering what triggered this because it seems like mother in law was there for Opie from the very beginning of the pregnancy. Like she was very supportive, she was very caring. So I don't know what exactly flipped the switch for her to all of a sudden go the opposite end of planting these little seeds of doubt in the husband's mind. That's scary. But I don't think Mark gets a free pass either because this is outrageous. I like it's one thing for someone to say something. Okay, say mother-in-law says something, but Mark has to know and trust his partner. I mean, it's not like there's anything that was done by Opie to make him distrust her. It just seems like he just went, you know what, mom, you're so right. This 3-month-old baby girl looks nothing like me. This wrinkly baby looks nothing like me. I can't possibly be the father. The logic just went over the rainbow and out the window there. Oh, wait, no, it should be out the window over the rainbow. But I'm concerned. I would be upset too, OP. Shame on the husband for not trusting you more. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see what OP says. OP says, I just felt defeated by the whole situation and agreed to the paternity test. Although I told him that when the test came back telling him that Sophia is his daughter, I wanted nothing to do with mother in law, and we would have to start couples counseling if there was any hope at all for this relationship to be saved. Fast forward to now, the test came back a week ago, and surprise, surprise, she is his daughter. He had this look of relief before the guilt and panic hit him, and he started to apologize to me over and over again. I told him he needed to tell his mother and then tell her we needed a break from her. Surprisingly, he was all for it, and I could hear him yelling at her for making him doubt me and telling her we didn't want any contact for a while. Mark blocked her number after hanging up, so she started to call and text me. It switched from that she was sorry and I was horrible for not seeing it from her point of view and taking away her family. I blocked her too, but some of his extended family has messaged both Mark and me, calling us cold hearted a-holes for cutting mother in law out the way we have. I started to doubt my decision, thinking I was too harsh after being hurt. Maybe I made a mistake by distancing ourselves from mother in law. After all, she was just looking out for her only son. So, Reddit, am I the a hole? There's so much to digest and unpack here. Where does one begin? I'll start off with this. To answer your question, I don't think you're the a hole at all. You're one of the rare posts I think that are very, very easy, absolutely strong, hard, not the a hole for me. You react so appropriately to this. I'm surprised that you didn't go into more hysterics, to be honest. You went along with the paternity test and then you said, look, when the results prove that I'm right, this is what we're going to do. And you held your husband to that. And I'm glad that Mark stood by you. I would have been so mad if Mark decided to go back on his word here. But it's also wrong for him to then blame his mom because he's, I have to say, I think Mark shoulders at least 80% the blame because he made OP go through with it. I don't know. I just feel some sort of way. The family therapy session will be needed here. The couples therapy is needed because the trust has been broken. I don't know. I don't know. In regards to mother-in-law, the fact that she flipped on you because she started out with apologizing, calling you, but then switched to, no, you should have seen it from my point of view and you're being too harsh. You're taking my family away from me. That switch right there tells me all I need to know about mother-in-law. Because if she was truly sorry, she would end it at the, I'm sorry, take all the time you need. I will be here. I hope that you can find in your heart to forgive me. And so I can still be part of your life. But no, once she realized that the sorry didn't work out, she went straight to, you're the monster for taking my family away from me. It wasn't anything I did. I don't know. Am I judging this too harshly? I feel like mother-in-law finally showed her true colors. What do you think? Too harsh to cut mother-in-law off? Or no?
I don't think it's too harsh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But it's her only son. She was
Yeah.
just worried.
Yeah. But by the way, when you were reading and you mentioned that it's not OP's, English is not OP's,
Yeah.
I guess, native language. At least personally, I interpreted that basically OP is from a non-English speaking country and that they live elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's what I meant
mean,
too.
it's kind of a little bit of a tangent, but not to say that I guess you can't be educated if you're in a non-English speaking country. That's not what I'm getting at, but at least what I've noticed that in other countries that the type of biology education is not
Yeah, it's different, right?
is treated differently, and what do you call that?
Medical myths.
Yeah.
Medical myths. Like things that aren't true,
Mm-hmm.
but it's what everyone says or what
Yeah,
people in the area
or
believe.
like some kind of superstitions that the kid needs to look like this, or
Yeah.
various things are actually being taken seriously, and
That's kind of terrifying.
yeah, and then kind of all reason, kind of science goes out the window in that regard. So I have a feeling it's one of those situations where mother-in-law maybe heard something or was already had that in her mind, and that it just kind of solidified it because it seemed to match that whatever it may have been.
See, but I also think the way mother-in-law phrased it, her reason for doubt, also made me think that in addition to maybe whatever, I'm cautious to say medical belief or whatever belief she has about how grandkids work or kids work from parents, right? Whatever it is. She and Mark, the husband, are also of a different ethnic, potentially, or cultural background from OP.
Okay.
Because she said that OP probably cheated on her husband with someone who looked more like OP. And unless there's something as easily identifiable as a feature, and I'm thinking babies, I mean, the most identifiable feature, I'm assuming, is like hair or skin or like whatever.
I just figured
That's where I got that.
Yeah, I just figured that OP and OP's husband, I guess, looked very different.
Yeah, that's what I assume. But I
Okay.
mean, so different that mother in law feels so concerned about her grandkid was worrying to me. But I, I mean, it sucks to suck. Mark may be her only son, but she squandered her only chance at having him in her life by doing that.
And I agree with also the mother-in-law's kind of follow up that it was not a sincere apology, because at that
No.
point you would understand your mistake and the damage that you've done, and try
Yeah.
to do whatever it takes to try to fix it. But
Yeah, you're right. It feels less like she wants to apologize and more like, "Hey, can we just make it seem like this never happened? Just let me off. It'll be fine."
but at the same time, that could be also cultural difference, because it's not the same everywhere.
That annoys me.
Yeah,
It might be. I know there are many cultures in Vietnamese tradition where like my family is one of them where seniority is above all. Or there's a very emphasis on tradition at times where doesn't matter if your parents are wrong, you can't tell them they're wrong even if they're wrong. Even if they admit they're wrong, you can't say they're wrong. I hope that's not the case for OP here. So there is an edit, but before that, let's see what the comments say. First comment, not the old, but you really need to hold your husband accountable, not just mother in law. She might have brought it up, but he ran with it. After years of trying for a baby, he accused you of getting pregnant from an affair, passing off the baby as his, and planning to lie to him for the rest of your life. Personally, I wouldn't be able to stay married to someone who suddenly thought so little of me just because of something his mommy said. If you can get past it, you're probably a better person than I am. Oh, I love it when the comments say exactly like what that little pit in my stomach is saying. This I do feel like Mark is getting it way too easy. Husband just it's like a little slap on the wrist, like nothing ever happened. Because OP's ready to cut off mother-in-law, which is justifiable. But then all husband has to do is, oops, sorry, babe. Don't worry. I signed us up for therapy. That's it. I'm not saying to make the man grovel. Make the husband grovel just a little bit. Just because okay, before you guys go saying, oh my God, that's so petty. That's so unhealthy in relationship. Blah, blah, blah. I think this level of consequence warrants what he did because it's not just the fact that he accused OP. He accused OP, didn't want to hear our explanation, and just went, we need the paternity test. He kind of was his own judge, jury, and witness for a crime that OP never committed. That's my problem. Like he already in his head had this doubt and believed it before ever having a conversation with his wife. I don't know. Oh man, I hate to tell a new couple or new parent, newly parented couples to divorce, but I feel like this is a rare drop the D moment. Perhaps divorce may be in the cards. But like this comment, Opie, if you're able to get past it, perhaps you are a better person than I am. I don't know. I was going to ask you if this happened to you, but there would be no scenario in which I would challenge you and say, babe, I need a paternity test from you.
yeah.
So I
Uh,
don't know. This is iffy.
yeah, I would kind of agree with that. I think that
Yeah?
Mark OP's husband is, if that was my partner, I would be upset with my partner more
Right?
than mother-in-law, because that's my partner. I would expect them to trust me, and
Your partner's supposed to be on your side.
right,
I mean, I'm not saying, okay, ignore all the red flags, go in blind. But I mean, there were no red flags for him to be concerned.
right. It's not like the kid looks completely like none of the parents. Perhaps maybe that at that point, maybe I would be slightly concerned, because you hear all these stories where
Oh, you know what I'm concerned about?
like
The
little
baby
babies
getting
get
switched.
switched out, or
Yeah.
they take the wrong baby home, etc. That's horrible. But yeah, I would maybe think that, but not where someone cheated.
I don't know. I don't know what husband was thinking. Maybe that's the problem. He wasn't thinking at all. Another comment. Your mother in law may be a problem, but ultimately your husband went along with it. And that is a much bigger problem. I'm glad the comments are going hard on the husband. Now, the story is 3 days old. Let's see if there's any updates. So, no updates at all, but OP, This is a case of you're definitely not the a-hole, but everyone else around you seems to be. I almost forgot, guys. There is an edit to the story. Edit. I'm so overwhelmed by all the support. Thank you to everyone who took the time to answer. I see a lot of you guys are coming for my husband, and trust me, I get it. I failed to mention that his last long term relationship ended because his ex cheated on him. His mother also divorced his father due to infidelity. That doesn't make it okay, but that's the reason I didn't hand him divorce papers the second he asked for a paternity test. I know he has a lot of trust issues, and so does his mother. He has been in therapy before because of his issues and has contacted his psychiatrist and is going to start up therapy again. And we are also going to our first couples counseling later this week. I feel complicated. I still stand by what I said, guys. I know it's harsh, and I really feel bad for both the mother in law and the husband, but it's almost like, what is it? What's that phrase? Like, I've heard hurt people hurt people. Like, that is true to some extent, but I don't think it makes it okay. Do you know what I mean? It's just, they're all adults. Like, I would hope that you've been hurt before, so you should know better. You should know better to not hurt the people around you, and you should do better. I don't know. Maybe this is harsh, but my judgment on this is husband, mother-in-law need to do better. Period.
Also, maybe take a biology class.
Oh, yes, definitely, for sure. I think this might clear up some of the confusion on why they thought whatever they thought, just based on the looks of a 3-month-old baby. So, OP, I'm thinking that this is a happy update from you because you sound hopeful, so I am hopeful for you. And if you guys have any advice for OP, leave it in the comments below, or if you have your own thoughts and suggestions on the story, let me know. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe, guys, for the channel. If you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to rate this 5 stars though. All right, our second story is our wild pick. Now, wild pick is just that, a story that's a little kooky, a little bit out there, but when I heard it, I thought you guys have to hear this one. This one is from the subreddit aita. Am I the a-hole for not giving my girlfriend my social security number so she can run a background check on me? Huh, you guys thought the paternity test was going to be the most wild thing asked in a relationship today. You thought wrong. OP says, I, 27-year-old male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, 31-year-old female, for almost a year now. This evening, she sat me down and said she needs to have a serious conversation with me, and she asked for my social security number. I said, absolutely not. Why would you need that? And she told me about her ex-boyfriend that was basically living a double life. He had a bunch of criminal charges in his past that he'd never told her about and eventually exposed her to some sketchy and dangerous behavior before she broke things off after he cheated. I said, okay, thank you for telling me that, but what does that have to do with my social security number? She said, ever since then, she's had her friend that works for the federal government run background checks on people to make sure they're safe. And because our relationship is progressing, she needs to know that I'm a safe partner for her. So she wants my social security number to check my criminal history. Now, for the record, I don't even have a parking ticket. I'm a nerd and a gym rat. All I do is work, go to school, play Dungeons and Dragons, come home, watch anime, rinse and repeat. So I don't care about a background check. She won't find anything. But I'm not giving out my social security number. I don't feel comfortable enough providing that to her friend. I'm trying to keep it in, guys. But I know this is a very odd request, but it's also hilarious. I don't think there's any life lesson, no book, no schooling that could prepare you for your partner just dropping the, okay, so I do need to run a background check with on you. Don't worry, I got my girl in the federal government. She's gonna do it. Just hand over your social security number. Just hand it over. What does one say to this? First off, man, a lot of people have trust issues. I can relate to that. But do we not think that this might be a tad too far? Also, I don't know about you guys, but at least in the US, one of the major things you were taught from a young age is do not hand your social security number or read it out or give it to anybody. To anybody. And yeah, ironically, you basically have to provide it to your medical provider, to your insurance, to credit card companies. So basically, technically, a lot of entities do know your social security number, but you're not supposed to be sharing it willy-nilly. You look like you have something to say about social security numbers.
Yeah, I mean that's what everyone tells you, but
then you
ended up
blasting
giving it
everywhere.
out, and then You give it to some like medical office, and then they keep it in
Their cabinets.
the cabinets that are
So secure, so
right.
safe.
So yeah,
I mean, argument could be made if girlfriend really wants that social security number. The next time you go to the dentist, she can just follow along. Technically, I'm just saying. I'm not advising this. This is all jokes. Um, no, I think you're not wrong, OP. Definitely don't hand over your social security number. And second of, hello, are we gonna overlook the fact that if you're working for the government, I don't think you're allowed to just use your access to run background checks on just anybody. That does sound a little bit of a violation of the law, or I don't know, the work ethics or work code, whatever you want to call it. Sounds slightly illegal. I don't know, but I don't know the law. Maybe you guys know better than I do. So that's another thing. I love that OP's defense isn't even the problem with the background check. Like his girlfriend's springing on the I need your social security number. I want to run a background check. I got this gal in the federal government. It's a lot taken. OP doesn't care about anything except the social security, because I love how he's so strong about um and so confident that she's going to find nothing. He literally pulled out everything. He said, "I'm a nerd. I go to the gym. I go to school. I play Dungeons and Dragons and watch anime. I don't care what she's going to find. She's going to find nothing on that record." We love an honest man. We love the honesty and confidence, but I still would not hand over the social security number. I just, maybe that's just me. This seems like a red flag. I think there are other ways to vet someone and to test. I hate to use that term, but test your partner without going that extreme of a route. That's what I think. But let's see. Opie says, when I said that, she got upset and said, I don't understand what women go through, and it's about safety. And I admitted she's right. I have no idea what women go through, but that doesn't mean I'm giving my social security number out to a complete stranger. She says he isn't a stranger. He's one of her best friends and married to a close friend of hers. And I said, honey, that's great, but I don't know him. I don't trust him because I don't know him. That's my information you're asking for. You can trust him with your personal information if you want, but no one I don't know is getting my social security number or critical details. It's just not happening. And she said that our relationship isn't going to be able to progress unless I give him my social security number, because she needs to know that she's safe, and she's offended that I don't trust her taste in friends. Uh-huh. That's kind of funny. Wait. So she's mad that you don't trust the random federal government friend that she has, but you're supposed to be okay with her doubting your whole identity and asking for your social security number. Okay, it checks out for me. Obi says, I got up and left at that point and told her I respect her concerns, but her past trauma doesn't give her the right to try and strong arm me into giving out sensitive information to someone I don't know, just because he works for the federal government and has access to a database. I used to work for the federal government, so I can say from experience, everyone working there isn't some wonderful person. I'm not assuming he's a monster or anything, but just working for the feds doesn't prove anything to me. She called me insensitive and hasn't spoken to me since. I personally feel like she was gaslighting me into giving her what she wants, but I'm not sure. Oh, OP, let me shed some light into that. You are absolutely correct. She is trying to gaslight you. What is going on here? So she wants you to trust her enough to not only give her your social security number, but then also give it to some random person. And I love how her credibility for this person is, oh, it's fine. He's one of my besties. You can trust him. Right. Also, he's married to like my other bestie. Okay, what does it have to do with the credibility of the social security number? Girl, this is very easy for me. I need to slap the gavel down for definitely not the a-hole, OP, but you would be the fool. Don't be a fool in this, though. Please do not hand out your social security number. What's your advice to OP?
I think you summed it up pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I would not give it out.
Okay.
Or I would not share the social security number.
You know what? You know what it reminds me of, though? For some weird reason, the fact that the girlfriend is just pulling the social security number out of the blue, it reminds me of one of those scam calls where it's almost like, oh, I am how there's scam calls or messages or emails to like Usually the elderly in their emails or something where it's like, "Oh, I'm from Microsoft and you have a virus. I just need you to input your bank account number right here. Send me your bank account information and I'll fix everything. Don't worry about it for the small fee of $9.99 or something like that." Low key, she could be a scammer. I'm just saying. The girlfriend is so, I don't know, she's giving shady vibes. Anyone who's asking for your sensitive information and then wanting to share it, I just feel like there's something going on there, something shady. But maybe I'm reading too much into it. Let's look at the comments. First comment, not they all. I just had a background check completed. I've had them every 5-ish years for the last 20 because I volunteer with children. Some in state, some federal. I also have been screened by the government for a permit several times. I have never had to provide a social security number. Sadly, I think your girlfriend may be the criminal and you may be her long con mark. Wait, what? Um, See, I've had background checks done, but for work. And I think I've had to actually provide my social security number. Or maybe not. See, now I'm not sure because my workplace, workplaces usually ask for all of that sensitive information anyway. So I don't necessarily know if that's required for background checks. Interesting. Interesting. But either way, I guess it makes sense that you wouldn't necessarily need that to do a simple background check. OP, are you potentially the girlfriend's mark for identity theft? Is this a thing?
Uh, Jokes aside, I don't think that's the case here.
You don't think so?
No, because
So you think she's just like crazy?
well, well, well,
She's not conning him. She's
not gonna
just
say
crazy.
anything in regards to that, but that would be usually scammers don't play such a long con. Like it just doesn't make sense.
True.
For something
Uh,
as a social
yeah.
security number.
There are easier ways to get it, I
Yes,
think.
and there are many ways online where you can get a bunch of them from a bunch of people. Unfortunately, to be honest, I don't think that the girlfriend's person in government is also a scammer. In my
Like you
opinion,
don't think they're running a long con or anything?
I personally don't think so, but it's just the principle, and I think the girlfriend's insecurities and past relationships are getting to her.
Like I feel really bad for the girlfriend too, but I still don't think it's okay for her to then pressure OP here to
Oh,
give up that
absolutely not.
sensitive information. Yeah. So perhaps there are better ways to work around this because even then, say OP gives in, right? Gives a social security number. I honestly don't think the trust would be built or be strengthened in the relationship because at that point, OP, you're just enabling her distrust. You're kind of okaying the fact that, oh, since you can't rely on yourself to trust people and rely on our interactions to decide whether or not you can trust me, you're just always going to be trusting this, the federal background checks. And I don't think any relationship that relies on something like that can last. I don't know. Another comment, her government friend is committing a felony. Not they hold you want no part of this. Oh, okay. Thank you for answering this commenter because I was curious about this. I'm like, it doesn't make sense that someone who has the power to run background checks on just anybody is supposed to do it for personal gain. So maybe OP, you also don't want to be linked to that either. All in all, I think it's pretty clear cut based on the comments, but not they whole OP. We don't have judgment. Yeah, this story is listed as advice needed. So anyone with advice for OP, feel free to share. Let me see if there's any updates on this one. Oh, we do have one update. Surprising. Okay, update from OP. After reading the comments I've been getting over the last few days, I decided to call her on New Year's Eve and give things one last chance because I'm the type of person that needs to know I did everything I could before I walk away from a relationship. And some people said that she has valid concerns. She just went about them the wrong way, which made sense. I would agree with that. OP says, I told her I understand and respect your need to ensure your safety, but I'm not willing to potentially compromise my safety to make you feel safe by handing over my social security number to someone I don't know and don't trust. And it's illegal for him to even use a federal database for personal reasons. So that's out. But what I will do is pay for a background check of your choosing, so long as it's a legitimate service and gives you the results. I will not be providing my social security number to anyone, but my address, date of birth, etc. are all fair game. OP, I don't know you very well, as I'm only seeing a snippet of your life here. But This is such a green flag thing to do for your partner. Like you're acknowledging her concerns. And even though what she asked of you was frankly outrageous, you've you're coming to a compromise and saying, you know what? I will still do the background check. Just pick one of your choosing. The world's your oyster in terms of checks. Honey, what if I said I wanted to do a background check on you?
Okay.
Oh, that was easy. I expected more of a, I don't know, more resistance.
I would have questions as to why do you want to do it now all of a sudden?
Because I saw a story on the internet that,
Mm.
and she did it, so I wanted to.
Then once you pick the background search service, we're gonna need to do a background search on that service.
Oh gosh, to verify if the service is even legit. Oh man. No, OP says she refused and said that she has chosen a background check and that's having her friend do it because she knows that she can trust him. So I said, if that's how you feel and you won't budge, then the issue here is trust. And I'm not willing to stay in a relationship with a woman that doesn't trust me because of some shit that doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm not paying for another man's sins and I'm not giving you my social security number because your ex was a criminal. She started crying, asking why I can't understand that it's not about me, it's about her. And I said, you made it about me when you asked for my social security number. Wait, you know what's really funny? So she doesn't even trust any other background check service except for the federal background check specifically done illegally by her BFF.
Okay, so
But
yeah, maybe there's
uh,
something shady going on there then,
see, this is just weird to me because, okay, I'd like to pose this question to your girlfriend, OP. Who's doing the background check on her best friend?
right?
Hmm? How do we know he can be trusted? Come on. Something here is not adding up. OP says she got pissed and started accusing me of lying about caring about her safety and saying if I really cared, then I have no problem doing this because I don't understand how vulnerable women are in society. So I said I was willing to work with you up to a reasonable point, but now you're just trying to manipulate me and I don't feel safe being with you anymore. Because if this is how you're going to react when you don't get your way about having my social security number, what happens the next time we have a major disagreement or a serious situation come up? Are you going to keep crying to try and get your way or throw out another ultimatum to try and force me into doing what you want? She starts saying that as a man, I can't understand what it's like to go through life as a woman and have to be afraid, and that this is what she has to do for her safety and security. And I need to just respect that and give her what she needs for her comfort. I was like, I tried to compromise. You wouldn't accept it. There's nothing more to say here. And to be clear, I wasn't exactly calm. I have severe anxiety. So this was a really, really hard conversation for me to have. I was actively pacing around my house and sweating and forcing words out the entire time. Then she started crying and asking about New Year's because we were supposed to spend it with her parents. I said, you should have thought about that before you tried to strong arm me into getting your way. This isn't a everyone stood up and applauded moment. That's just how things went. I hung up and now we're over. Obviously, I'm hurt, but I'm realizing I dodged a bullet because there's no reason shit should have gotten this effing messy. And before anyone tries to jump me in the comments again, I offered to pay for the check. She refused because it wasn't the test she wanted. I feel like I made a good faith effort to resolve things. Hate to ring in the new year without a kiss under the mistletoe, but it is what it is. I don't know if she really is that concerned that I'm some lunatic criminal or if she's trying to scam me like a lot of you said. Either way, it's over now. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm so glad you broke up. Oh God, I am worried. Now I don't know what to believe. Was she potentially a scammer? Was she just that unhinged? Or what was going on with your ex? You didn't dodge a bullet, you dodged a bomb. Just, this is unhinged. I'm sorry, this is unhinged. Let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from Madame Alora. In response to, because if this is how you react when you don't get your way, that's right here, OP. You nailed it. And I know it's hard right now, but you just dodged years of manipulation and ultimatums. A good resolution for 2025. Another comment. Oh, and dodge a bunch of gaslighting. Men can have the same kind of concerns as women. Another concern if her friend is running background checks on her boyfriends, how many other people's privacy has he invaded? Right? I'm just, the more we wonder about this, the more I'm genuinely concerned. Because what's going to happen next, like in your life? Saying you built a life and a future and a family with your ex girlfriend, right? Had you done that, is she going to continue to use her friend's work access, I guess, to just dig up background checks of everyone, violate everyone's privacy, ask for everyone's social security number? I And also, who really wants to be with someone who's willing to manipulate someone to get what they want, to the point of the crying, the reasoning, she even slapped down the women feel this card. I can't speak for very much, but what I can speak for as a member of the women's club, we do not support this. We do not support what she's doing here. Oh no. I guess you could kind of say that this is a happy ending ish for OP, because OP, you dodged a bullet, right? Happy? Question mark. It feels kind of bleak, but happy.
Yeah, happy definitely in the long run.
Yeah. It's scary. See, whenever we see stories like this, I get super paranoid, because now I'm thinking, it's like one of those notifications you get on your accounts when they say, hey, it's been a while since you last changed your password. You should change it to a more secure one. And then I kind of hit, skip, ignored, remind me in 90 days. So maybe this is a reminder for me to perhaps be a little bit better with my cybersecurity. Right? What's with that look? I'm secure. You can't tell me that I'm the only one who skips or ignores those messages when they come up with, by the way, you should probably change that password. You haven't changed it in a while. Or hey, this is a reminder. Right? I can't be the only one who's skipping those, right?
I don't know if that's a thing nowadays, anyways.
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So maybe it's not a thing anymore. Our last story is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for hanging my girlfriend's underwear out to dry? My girlfriend, female 21 years old, and I, male 22 years old, live together and take turns doing household chores. This includes washing dishes, vacuuming, and doing laundry. The other day, my girlfriend was at work and I decided to throw a load in the washer. I didn't have enough laundry to do a full one, so I added the clothes from her hamper. Our dryer isn't working, so when the cycle was done, I hung the stuff on the clothesline outside. It was a nice, windy day, so it was going to dry quick. Later, I heard my girlfriend's car pull in the driveway. I went downstairs to greet her, and as she was coming in, I saw that she had her laundry bundled in her arms. She looked upset and slammed the door behind her. I asked if something was wrong, and she said she was pissed I hung her underwear out for everyone to see. I didn't really think about it, but most of the stuff from the basket were her socks and panties. She's a little conservative, so her undies are basically granny panties. Think white cotton Hanes. She chewed me out and said how embarrassed she was that all of her neighbors now know what her undies look like. I told her that it's not a big deal and that everyone already assumed she wore underwear, but she's been pissed at me for a couple days. Am I the a-hole? Why are you laughing?
Man.
Why are you laughing? Wait, okay, you can go first here. What are your thoughts? A-hole, no a-hole? What did he do wrong? What he didn't do wrong?
I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure the OP messed up here.
Why? Why do you think he messed up?
You can chime in here.
So, okay, let me list your offenses, sir. Mr. OP, you, sir, the boyfriend here. I see your logic, right? I see your logic. You're thinking, laundry, lovely windy day. Let me go ahead and hang all the socks and undies out so they can dry quickly, right? I get it. Trust me. I get the logic. But think of the other side of it. Personally, yes, we are all aware most people, I was going to say everyone, but most people, at least that we know of, generally wear undies, right? Does that mean I want to show the entire neighborhood what my undies look like? No, I do not. Oh, that's so embarrassing. It's like a privacy thing, a boundary privacy thing. I think your girlfriend's right to be mad. I'm sorry, you deserve to be in the doghouse right now. Look, you can hang her other stuff like socks. You could have picked other things in the hamper, like pants, tops. Those are all fair game. But undergarments is a big no. And what's even worse, OP, sir, you not only physically showed off her undies for all to see, for all the neighborhood to see, but now you also told the internet exactly what kind of undies she wore. You called them granny panties and classified them as white Hanes. We did not need to know that, sir. Oh. I think, OP, you were trying to say that to plead your case that it wasn't some, crazy, lacy, super hypersexual undies. But if anything, I feel like if I was your girlfriend, I would be even more furious. And okay, you know how sometimes we've made it a point where I take the stories with a grain of salt, right? Because it's always told from OP's side. So we never really see the other, well, we rarely see the other side of things, right? I think this is a case where OP's hiding some details to make him look better. This is why I'm saying that, because he mentioned that OP's girlfriend like came home from work, but she had her undies and clothes in her arms. So if she's walking into the house from parking the car in the driveway, and it was a super windy day, did the panties and socks fly off from wherever they were hanging outside and potentially, you know, maybe they were on the ground outside or something like that, and OP, your girlfriend had to pick it up? Because tell me why she walks in the house with laundry bundled in her arms. Like, did they fall to the ground? Were they somewhere super uber public that someone could pick them up? Because that's kind of invasive too. Like, I would feel kind of violated that way. I don't like that. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a weirdo. Maybe you can call me, I guess, conservative in the personal privacy for undies department. I just think you could have done so many other things to save her the embarrassment and save this whole argument from ever happening. Just don't hang her undies for the world to see. I don't think that's too much of an ask, right?
Nope. That's how I interpreted it. It's that I don't think they necessarily fell down. I think they were just out in the front and
Like way too public.
yeah. I mean, for that type of stuff, you can even hang it indoors. It'll take longer to dry, but it will still dry, right?
Yeah, but if they're undies, like they don't even take that long to dry in the first place.
I mean,
It's like little articles of clothing. You
right.
could just like hang it indoors. You're right.
Yeah.
OP, you had a doofus moment. You had a bad oopsie here. No. Now, in case you're wondering, are you a hole? Yes, you are. You're not going to like this. Well, I don't like it. But the verdict for this is actually not the hole.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're
the
lying.
verdict for this is not the hole.
You're lying?
No, I'm not lying. I wish I was lying. I don't understand. Okay, I don't understand how the verdict is not the hole. But you know what? The internet has changed my mind before. And maybe people are seeing something I don't. So let's see. First comment from Confused Overthinker. Not they. I don't know where you live, but here it's very normal to dry things on the clothesline when the weather is good and most people have some underwear on there. I don't think you were to know she wouldn't like it. But I'm not going to say she's necessarily in the wrong. Seems like it's just something she didn't like the idea of and she got stressed about it. Everyone's different. Opie, I don't know where you live. I've never seen anybody hang undergarments outside in a very public manner. Like, I'm thinking the only place I've seen families hang clothing out where they hang out everything is if, say, they live in a rooftop apartment and they have the entire roof. So then they hang stuff up on the roof because most people won't have eye level direct access to your roof. So I see that. But no, this is weird. I'm sorry. This cannot be normal.
I know that in different countries, they definitely do that.
But personal undies too.
I mean, yeah. It's just like, at least the way I personally see it, that's not something I would do. At least from the area that we're from.
Yeah.
It would just be extremely weird if someone did that. It's just not a normal thing to do. And in my opinion, if you're going to do that, try to find a more private space. You don't have to
Right, you don't
do it
have
out
to,
in
like,
the open in the front yard, I'm assuming, right?
yeah, because girlfriend saw it before she even walked into the house. Like she saw it in the driveway, like from the driveway walking in.
It's just I guess it's a personal not personal,
Preference?
but even like just a cultural thing, I guess.
I guess. But I would have asked, especially with ladies undergarments, typically it's a more sensitive clothing item, I would say. So I would have at least asked the girlfriend before just doing it. I don't know. Opie, you're still the a-hole to me. There is a response to this one. Interesting. Response to the comment. In my country, we have perverts everywhere, so we hang our undies inside. Someone responded, same. I'm in Japan and women dry panties on the second floor or inside. They'll get stolen otherwise. Oh, well, this is one of those moments where I just learned something new.
Not a surprise for me.
What? Why would anyone take someone else's undies? Like steal them?
Yeah.
They're not going to be your right size, and that's kind of weird and creepy.
I'm pretty sure they don't steal them to wear them.
Oh, like the perverts, perverts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some might wear them, but who knows?
Oh gosh, I am deeply concerned. I see. I never had to think this hard about undergarments before, guys, but now I have some questions. I have some questions here. See another comment. Couple thoughts. I laughed out loud when I read your post. In a few years, she will probably think this is funny. At least I hope so. If this is the worst you do, then you're a keeper. Do you have any idea how many posts here are from women whose husbands wouldn't know dirty laundry if it bit them on the butt? Let alone think to take care of that chore. Who cares what kind of panties she wears? If one of your neighbors has the temerity to say anything, you can tell them to F right off. You are so not the a-hole. No? Okay, I'm sorry. I have to call this comment out. Like, are your standards so low? Like, you're giving OP the highest of honors just because he does laundry. That is a very normal human adult chore that everyone should know how to do, regardless if they're man or woman. So the fact that it bothers me. This commenter is like, oh my
Yeah.
God, the fact that he knows how to do this is amazing. No, it's really not.
Yeah. To me, that comes off as here are women things to do and here are men things to do. And wow, he knows how to do this woman thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Uh,
definitely reads like
yes.
that. Ooh, I kind of got the ick. I'm just saying, I got the ick from that comment. Who cares what kind of panties she wears? Well, the girlfriend does. Clearly, your partner cares, so you should care. I really don't like the thinking of, how do I say this? Even if it's something weird, like say M, my fiance, or Mr. Deep Voice, as you guys have heard him chime in from time to time, say he asked me to do something really odd. Like he wants me to wear my shirt, like wear a sweater I like inside out. I don't know, like a dumb, like random thing makes no sense to me, right? I would, okay, initially I would not want to do it, obviously. But if there is a very specific and very logical, or maybe not even logical, if it means that much to him that I wear a sweater inside out for one day to do something, sure, sure. Because you know what? His feelings matter more to me than the social societal norm of let's not wear our sweaters inside out. This is such a bad example, but I couldn't think of
Yeah,
anything
it
else,
is a
guys.
very bad
Okay.
example.
I couldn't think of anything else. He would never ask me to do this, but I couldn't think of anything else. I would do it, right? And to me, this is like one of those things. Or I just, even in this situation, I can't fathom ever hanging his undies or him hanging my undies just out to dry in public, but not saying anything. Like, even if one of us thought to do this, I feel like we would have said, hey, babe, I think this is a good idea. What do you think? Oh, it's not a good idea. Oh, after hearing you out, you're right. I probably shouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that then. That's it. There would be no argument. There would be no fight. It's just, I don't know. Do people not talk to each other? I'm baffled. And I hate how a lot of these comments are applauding OP and just basically saying, oh, good job. I mean, you did laundry. What more can she ask from you? Hello? Are the standards out here that low? I'm sorry. This is sad. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. Another comment. You know, you would think people wouldn't care much about what kind of panties a woman would wear, but there are some that do. My husband and I lived with my brother in law and his wife for a few years ago. I started a load of laundry and forgot to put it in the dryer. The brother in law's wife switched it over for me, then comes to tell me she did so. Before she walks away, she asked, wife, why do you wear shorts or boy short style for underwear? You're 23. You should be wearing thongs. Me, I don't like floss going up my butt crack all day. You're 35. Why do you wear them? Wife, your clothes will be dry within the hour. People that care about things like this are fed up with their own life standards, etc., that they are starting to pick apart others to make themselves feel better. I feel like people are starting to share their own laundry stories. I did not realize there's this whole category of stories. I don't think the moral of the story is that, like, oh, you shouldn't care about what people think about what you wear. I'm like, that is not the circumstance to take that stance on. Does that make any sense? Like, I see a lot from the comments where people are saying, oh, who cares about what kind of undies she wears? Or your neighbors shouldn't care. I'm like, yes, in an ideal world, no one would care,
Right.
right? In an ideal world. It doesn't mean that the girlfriend can't have feelings about her own garments, like about what she wears and what she shares with the world and chooses not to, I think her privacy should still be respected. And I think that's the issue here.
Right. It's not, I think just underwear just happened to be, uh,
The garment.
I think it comes down to your partner not knowing your boundaries and not
Yeah.
being careful or considerate about their actions. And they just made an assumption. Yeah. Like some people, I would say, some people don't care about it, but in today's world, and just, I'm assuming they're also living in a place where maybe that's not a
Norm.
norm, right? Then
I mean, because Opie's girlfriend had a pretty drastic reaction.
right. And I'm assuming if that was the norm, then maybe she wouldn't have had that reaction.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too. I don't think she overreacted at all. I think this is perfectly justifiable. I'd be pretty upset too if I'm coming back home from somewhere and I just see my undies floating in the wind for all to see. I would feel some sort of way. Not that I'm embarrassed of my clothes. It's more like I'd rather not air out my laundry. Get it? Get it? Like air out the laundry, but then air out the dirty laundry. Get it? That was a good one. I feel like I haven't had such a good pun in a while. But that's my point, guys. More of the story. Please, boyfriends out there, if any of you guys are listening in, somehow I've made it onto your feed. Do not hang your girlfriend's undies out. If you really need to dry them, just hang them in the room if you really need to. Put it in front of a fan if you're that desperate. If you don't have a dryer, your dryer is broken. Better yet, ask your girlfriend how she feels about this before you go and do it. She will be appreciative. No girlfriend's going to be pissed that you ask them, hey, babe, I want to hang up your laundry. Are you okay with me hanging it up a certain way? No one's going to be pissed if you ask them. And it will save you a lot of arguments down the road. So please do that. If you get any good advice from my video, this is it. Don't air out the undies. No, my verdict, absolute a-hole. A-hole all the way. Just, no. Reddit's wrong. I'm sorry. Reddit's wrong. I'll just go and say it. Reddit's wrong on this one. And let me know in the comments what you thought about this. Whether you think I'm wrong, if you're on Reddit's side. I hope you're open-minded. I'll hear you out. We might not agree, but we can always discuss. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe, guys. If you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to rate me 5 stars. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you guys. Bye.